Folks, we've built a site in Malaysia.
Alamak, 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 kaya lagi. Kue raya tak jadi-jadi. Kelang kabut, ayam ketumpat, rendang hari sabut lagi.
As the saying goes, Bitado expands overseas territory.
Car selection in Malaysia becomes more easy.
Parameters and galleries in your palm.
Quotations accurate and reliable.
Videos and news fully covered.
All on Bitauto.my.
Besides, in-depth multi-car reviews are featured content, filled with practical insights not to be missed. In this episode, you will witness top sales car in danger while overtaking, be a good person in the next life, get a nice car, a fully loaded pickup truck about to roll over, Malaysia's auto reviewer facing online threats. If BYD fails to deliver, delete all social media accounts permanently. And a memorable test. The card is fine. A total of 14 mainstream models in Malaysia are divided into 3 major groups. They will be tested and compete head-to-head, and use test results to answer to questions. 1. When, Proton, Perodjoa, Toyota, Honda. 4 brands dominate 90% of the market. Can Chinese cars still have a chance? Question 2. Although Malaysia is a country where 1 liter of 95-octane gasoline is cheaper than 1 liter of purified water, but as you can see, geopolitical conflicts will cause oil prices and gasoline subsidy quotas to fluctuate drastically. So is the spring of electric vehicles about to arrive? Let's find the answer from the first group, that is, the affordable commuter car group favored by the simple and pragmatic Malaysians. If you want to buy an SUV, this Ativa is definitely an unavoidable choice, because since 2024, it has been the best-selling SUV in Malaysia. Although it bears the Perodjoa local brand logo and its front fascia has had a facelift, but its core is actually a Toyota Daihatsu Rocky, built on the DNGA platform. With a powerful 1.0 T3 cylinder engine that delivers an impressive 72 kilowatts of power. If you increase the budget a bit, you can consider this Tiggo Cross. The extra money not only gives it a more refined exterior and more spacious interior, but also upgrades the engine to a 108 kilowatts, 1.5 T4 cylinder engine. It's said that Malaysians love Japanese cars for their reputation of being tough and durable, because in this country that hates overtime, if your car breaks down on Friday, no one will fix it until next Monday. But now it's no longer the era of cherry, line up for repairs, but cherry, good cars at low prices. So is the Tiggo Cross worth increasing your budget for? Let the test data speak. Of course, besides the Tiggo Cross, which is familiar to Chinese audiences, within a short distance of it, there must be a rival in Malaysia. The Geely Binyu has the local brand Proton and the name X50. Its specifications are arguably the best in the group. 1.5 T4 cylinder engine delivers 133 kilowatts and 290 Nm of excellent torque. Finally, the Honda WRV 1.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, although only has 89 kilowatts of power, that doesn't stop it from having the second highest price in the group. It seems the world is the same. We all have to pay the Honda tax. Of course, if you want a commuter vehicle at a lower cost, then lower your expectations. Let's look at sedans. This sedan, whose front, middle, and rear look like they were designed by 3 strangers independently, is the Proton Saga 1.5 liter naturally aspirated engine. Entry trim price is even less than RM 40,000. Perodjoa MyV is the undisputed iconic car of Malaysia, has extremely high attention and discussion on social media. Although its Toyota-derived 1.5 liter NA engine is less powerful than the Saga, but this Japanese engine soul and retro interior in a small hatchback has the potential to be a hit. Will there be a woman in Malaysia named after a drink? Fervently support MyV.
50万以内没有对手。
Finally, the Prodani Maz 5 is bound to be Malaysians' first electric love, though price higher than the other two. But the instant torque of motor may give it the best safety in this group. A fun fact, for small cars and small SUVs. The most important thing is not being cheap or energy efficient, but performance, because performance is never a vanity feature. It's actually a safety feature. Don't believe it? Let's have an immersive experience. Now you're driving on a 2-lane road. In front of you is a truck, driving at 60 kilometers per hour at a steady pace. You decide to overtake it, and even by using the oncoming lane. But little do you know, as you overtake, an oncoming car is already approaching. You only have 100 meters to complete the maneuver. But the driver is literally the heavyweight driver. Well and Choi, making the already weak power even worse. In such a difficult situation, do you still think performance reserve and response speed are unimportant? Which of the 7 cars will drive to die, and which will drive to survive? Let's start the test. Considering most drivers don't switch to sport mode or S gear when overtaking, we'll test in standard mode. With D gear, Ativa has the lightest weight in the SUV group, 100 kilograms lighter than the Honda, and 300 to 400 kilograms lighter than the X50 and Tiggo Cross. Its lightweight plus the advantage of fast spooling small turbo gives it good mid-range acceleration. Unfortunately, power reserve is not impressive. Side and mirror corners slightly damaged, making Wellen a bit flustered. Next, Tiggo Cross, the heaviest in the SUV group, nearly 1.5 tons, heavy and bulky, plus its overly calm power response made this overtaking look reckless. If in a real situation, let's be a good man in the next life.
好，跟法官说。
The X50, also with a 1.5T engine. Will it nail it? Okay, Wellen. We've called 999 twice already. We've died twice. Can we survive just once? It's all up to this X50. Our last hope. There's hope, there's hope, there's hope, okay. We survived. Settled both the score and life and death. Congratulations to the most powerful X50 for achieving the first successful overtaking. According to data from Professional Instruments, X50 was parallel to the truck for 1.13 seconds at the moment of overtaking, reaching 91.62 kilometers per hour. Finally, the WRV, the only NA engine SUV in the group. I have a feeling we're doing something we know we can't. Everyone doubts you, and you really let us down. WRV's overtaking performance is even less agile than the Ativa. Felt like a truck is faster than us. To summarize the SUV group, only the Proton X50 survived the desperate situation. Next up is the sedan group. Saga and Myvi weigh about the same as the Ativa, just over 1 ton each. Both engine specs better than Ativa's. Will they be able to finish what the Ativa couldn't? I have no hope for the gas cars, although they're light enough.
But my weight's heavy enough.
But with your if it weren't for your weight, would we have a chance?
No.
Good start. Agile. No chance? No chance. No, we're gonna get roasted online. Miss Myvi is Malaysia's iconic car. If you fail this test, you might get cyberbullied.
Definitely.
Just wait. Myvi beats everything. Yes. Small displacement NA engines are really desperate. If you overtake in these two, you must leave a super generous safety margin. What about the electric car's fate? Let's welcome the EVE Maz 5.
My first time driving it.
How is it? Is it super smooth?
Smooth. Really smooth.
We nailed it. Calm and effortless. This is Malaysia's hope. According to the data, the Maz 5 was parallel to the truck, or only 1.06 second, more agile than the X50. This shows that even the strongest 1.5T can't beat the instant response of an electric motor. At the moment of overtaking, its top speed was 89.6 kilometers per hour. The gap of acceleration is obvious even to the naked eye. But if this still doesn't make you value performance, I'll bring out the next test. When you're driving at the legal speed limit of 110 kilometers per hour on a Malaysian highway and suddenly see crashed cars 50 meters ahead, blocking all lanes. At this point, you have no choice but to slam on the brakes. Still think braking is unimportant? Which of the 7 cars will stop in time? And which will crash into the back? Let's start the test. First, the SUV group. 4 contestants showed 4 completely different performances. One is calm and effortless.
X50 definitely passed perfectly. One barely stopped in the nick of time. I felt for the first time I was standing up on the brakes, standing up.
One failed at the last, front end damaged.
This car has a slow response. It's way worse than the other 2. One struggled badly, strong vibration. Sorry, Activa, you can't do it. You really can't do it.
2 SUVs that avoided crashing have one thing in common: all disc brakes on all 4 wheels. Higher braking hardware specs. The Proton X50 even has excellent grip from premium Continental UC6 tires. This allowed it to stop from 110 kilometers per hour in just 45.58 meters. The heavier Cherry, with only GT tires, stopped in 49.82 meters. Although it avoided crashing, but the visual impact was enough to make the driver front wet his pants. Of the 2 SUVs with rear drum brakes, WRV stopped in 50.72 meters, and Activa, with the narrowest tires and smallest contact patch, took even 52.51 meters to stop. Now the sedan group. The Myvi and Saga, unsurprisingly, crashed into the broken-down cars. Airbags definitely deployed. The 175 and 185 with noodle tires can barely provide enough grip. Front disc, rear drum braking hardware is durable but lacks performance. Tested, the Myvi stopped from 110 km per hour to 0 km per hour in 53.69 meters, and Saga's performance was even worse by 54.98 meters, nearly 10 meters longer than the X50's. Also, when braking hard, its swaying motion is very dangerous. If driver doesn't hold the steering wheel firmly, it could cause a more serious accident. Finally, the Maz 5e was very impressive. Although its 40.16 kWh battery makes it 300 kilograms heavier than the other 2 in the group, but its 205 width tires and front ventilated, rear solid disc brakes allowed it to stop in 49.33 meters. That was so close. Nice. More than half a meter left to the accident scene. It is a close call. Now after performance and safety, next is to test who has lower commuting costs. 7 cars will compete in urban energy consumption. Who is the most energy efficient? Let's cruise the capital's streets. Petronas Towers pierce the sky. Merdeka Square recalls history. Pudu seeks the hustle and bustle. Ampang Hill overlooks the scenery. Driving over 100 kilometers. After refueling and charging, let's rank them. To be honest, Kuala Lumpur's weather is very changeable.
It's pouring like someone's dumping water. It didn't rain this hard when we arrived.
Yeah. Kuala Lumpur's traffic is also stop and go. This 128 kilometers test route. Average speed only 23 kilometers per hour. Typical congested road conditions. No need to guess which is more fuel efficient. Tests show the fuel economy champion among the 6 gas cars is indeed from the sedan group, but there are 2 results that I didn't expect. First, the champion's consumption is so high. Perodua Myvi took first place. Its fuel consumption is as high as 8.16 liters per 100 kilometers. Forgive a Chinese car reviewer for being surprised, because in my country, This is the fuel consumption of a 3-row large hybrid SUV running on low battery. The second surprise is, 2 sedans with such similar weights have vastly different fuel consumption. Proton Saga has a fuel consumption of up to 10.05 liters per 100 kilometers, even higher than 3 SUVs. The reason is that the standard version's 480 transmission is the one to blame. Wide gear ratios and poor transmission efficiency waste horsepower. Engine can't work in the high efficiency range with such high fuel consumption, but it doesn't affect the Saga's sales because Malaysia's oil prices are too friendly. Every citizen gets a 200 liters monthly subsidized gasoline quota. Within the quota, 95-octane gasoline costs only Rm 1.99 per liter. Calculated accordingly, MIVI costs only 0.16 per kilometer and the Saga only 0.2. Using a fuel consumption expression more familiar to Malaysians, after testing, MIVI can run 12.25 kilometers on 1 liter of fuel. The Saga is 9.95 kilometers. This means, if you want to always enjoy subsidized prices, driving the Saga, your daily commute should be limited to 66 kilometers, while the MIVI can go up to 82 kilometers. SUV group rankings are also full of surprises. First place went to the Honda WRV. Earth Dreams engine's legendary fuel efficiency, plus Japanese car lightweighting expertise, gave it a fuel consumption of 8.86 liters per 100 kilometers, close to a small hatchback's level. Second place should logically go to the equally light, equally Japanese sold Ativa. Sorry, Proton X50 interrupted that. Although it's heavier, has more features and more power, X50 beat the Ativa anyway. To take second place in the SUV group, fuel consumption 9.69 liters per 100 kilometers. Ativa came third with 9.9 liters per 100 kilometers. This means Tiggo Cross is last among the 6 cars. Consumption also much higher than its rivals, reaching 11.57 liters per 100 kilometers. Besides being the heaviest at nearly 1.5 tons, its unresponsive power also stacked the odds against it. Light throttle gives lazy output. Hard throttle gives a sudden surge. Poorly tuned affected the Tiggo Cross's fuel economy. Switching to the same consumption expression, per 1 liter of 95-octane gasoline, WRV can travel 11.29 kilometers, X50 10.32 kilometers, Ativa 10.1 kilometers, Tiggo Cross only 8.64 kilometers. Calculated at subsidized oil prices, WRV costs 0.18 per kilometer, X50 or MO.19, Ativa ARM 0.2, Tiggo Cross ARM 0.23. Similarly, for always enjoy subsidized prices, Chery's daily city driving can't exceed 58 kilometers, but the first place WRV can go 75 kilometers. Finally, let's check EAP Maz 5E's performance. It started with a full charge, drove 128.7 kilometers with the gas cars, had 54% battery remaining at the end. EAP Maz 5, equipped with a 40.16 kilowatt-hour battery, has a WLTP rated range of 325 kilometers. Its urban range achievement rate is 86.1%. This is quite impressive. In hot and humid Kuala Lumpur, its power consumption is 14.68 kilowatt-hour per 100 kilometers. Electricity and fuel can't be compared directly, so let's compare cost per kilometer. After the EAP Maz 5E's test, it was recharged to full. The charger showed 8.89 kWh was charged. Our charger costs Rm 1.5 per kWh. Calculated, the EAP Maz 5E's commuting cost per kilometer is Rm 0.22. It's actually more expensive than the shockingly fuel-hungry Saga. Also, considering Malaysia's not very convenient and widespread charging network, promoting electric vehicles at this stage is indeed a long and difficult road, but considering its dominant performance in the previous 2 tests and smooth driving experience, it will eventually become Malaysians' favorite. I stand by this prediction. As for the SUV group, Proton X50, in 3 tests, got 2 first places and 1 second. The 2026 SUV sales champion is definitely it. After the affordable commuter car comparison, next is the pickup group. Chinese folks will definitely be drooling because
因为大马皮卡真自由，失去重心随意走，早晚高峰不设防，高速不再进行绑，车牌通数私家车报废年限无偏颇，自用载货无需征地，本就可把人生。总之一句话，法规从没区别写，皮卡在大马就是这样带斗的硬派越野。
Besides the enviable policies, the Malaysian market also has models that make Chinese folks drool. Toyota Hilux is under RM 120,000. Its insane reliability and durability made it a legendary car. If you've watched early Top Gear, you know how hard it is to beat a grown Hilux. Facing the legendary car, the Chinese JAC T9 is not only confidently priced, but even provocative. More expensive than the Hilux by RM8, aiming to one-up it directly. Can its strength match this confidence? Finally, the Ford Ranger. As you can see from its appearance, its price is a bit higher. Does the higher price mean higher performance? Since some scenes in this group's test may be satisfying to watch. Adults, please watch with no kids around. Let's start with the less exciting test. After all, these are tough off-road pickups. As work tools, who has the best cargo capacity to make money back? The test unit is cases of mineral water. Each case has 24 500 milliliters bottles, weighing 12 kilograms. The three pickups' bed dimensions are about the same, so space utilization is the deciding factor. The one with the worst loading capacity surprised us. It's actually the Uncle Sam from the land of pickups. The Ford Ranger's rough-shaped and irregular wheel arches took up a lot of space, so it only fit 39 cases of water, carrying 468 kilograms. Hilux's cargo capacity is middle, with 41 cases. Total cargo weight 492 kilograms. The one that can carry the most is the Chinese JAC T9. It fit 45 cases of water, carrying 540 kilograms. You can see the difference between the Hilux and T9's bed design is Toyota's wheel arch is connected to front panel, but the T9 squeezed out a little more space in this small area. Filling the pickup's beds with water is also for the next test, the fully loaded braking test. 3 pickups will have 5 people inside and a full bed and perform 6 consecutive full brake stops from 100 kilometers per hour under heavy load. Which pickup has the shortest braking distance and is least prone to brake overheating? With the most consistent stopping distance? 5 people in the car count as 300 kilograms, plus each pickup's bed cargo weight and vehicle weight. The weights from heaviest to lightest are the heavy pickups' braking results scary? Let's not talk about that yet. When fully loaded, their acceleration ability first opened our eyes. They used almost the entire track to reach 100 kilometers per hour. We used Malaysia's most popular song as an acceleration benchmark. 3, 2, 1. Let's sing after start. See how many line we can sing. 3, 2, 1, go. Almost finished the song. That's how slow this car accelerates. Let's look at the braking results. Among the 3 pickups, only the JAC T9 has 4-wheel disc brakes. Hilux and Ranger both have rear drum brakes. Drum brakes aren't bad at stopping power, but their heat dissipation is worse than disc. Continuous hard braking will cause overheating, leading to performance degradation. Test results confirmed this. T9 got the shortest stopping distance and the best average stopping distance. It stopped from 100 kilometers per hour in 46.18 meters. 6 test average 47.04 meters. The gap between the shortest and longest was only 1.7 meter, while the Hilux and Ranger had a gap of about 3.5 meters between best and worst. The Hilux came second. Best result 46.28 meters. Average 48.8 meters. I swear I heard a cow mooing at the end. Did you hear it? Despite the Hilux's ABS obvious noise, and its nosedives repeatedly, but with factory AT tire, it ranked between the two HT tire cars, which is reassuring. The heaviest Ford Ranger came last, stopping from 100 kilometers per hour, took at least 48.26 meters. Average result 50.33 meters. Also, starting from the fifth brake, Ranger's brake pedal felt noticeably softer. Feel like it was fading. You can clearly feel its initial braking force is weak. It starts to slide. Yeah. While everyone in the water are fine, let's do the most exciting test, the fully loaded moose test. Let's see if these road tanks will roll over when swerving to avoid obstacles. Since Malaysia drives with right-hand drive, the test track is arranged as a mirror of the ISO 3888-2 international standard. All three pickups were tested in two-wheel drive mode. First stage, when the avoidance scenario happens on a 50 km per hour urban road. What will happen? All passed smoothly and easily. We underestimated pickups' handling stability. Let the swerves come harder.
Okay.
Let's increase the test speed to 55 kilometers per hour. Amazingly, all passed again. But you can see, some contestants are already struggling and sweating profusely. Increasing speed to 60 kilometers per hour. Now we'll see who's better. Definitely two wheels off the ground. Sure enough, Hilux and T9 stopped at this round. Hilux's suspension support is terrible. Can't hold the body when gravity shifts quickly, showing nose lifting, one wheel off the ground. But my evaluation of that inside is solid, because it created too many opportunities for close contact. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I couldn't control it either. Also, worse than poor suspension support. Helix's hydraulic power steering can occasionally lose power when steering sharply, causing the steering wheel to stick, making the already rushed situation even more chaotic. JACT9 also had its front left wheel off the ground when avoiding obstacles. The whole car was bouncing. Stability was non-existent, although you can clearly feel the ESP working hard to brake, control speed, and correct trajectory, but the effect is not enough to pass the test. Finally, Ranger's performance showed Ford's century of pickup manufacturing heritage. Okay, done. Although all have front double wishbone and rear solid axle non-independent suspension, but the Ranger kept all four wheels firmly on the ground during the Moose test. Suspension support was excellent, even when challenging the 65 km per hour level. It failed, but the vehicle's posture and trajectory were still controllable. Its security and stability are clearly better. Next, let's go to the off-road venue to see if the pickups can be alternatives to hardcore SUVs. Steep hill climb plus pulley group escape test. When doing shows in China, we often stop SUVs halfway up steep hills, then start climbing again to test their braking, four-wheel drive distribution, and powertrain performance. Of course, as some models failed and slid down, our shows were taken down. Hope these three's performance can keep our show alive. Malaysia's best man at off-roading. With Chimney, Angus is very confident in them.
I'm confident we'll reach the sky.
The 35 dirt hill, half-hill climb test starts now. 3, 2, 1, start, go.
Go! Too heavy. Should have no problem. Come on.
No commentary needed, even with their beds full of cargo, and only using 4 high mode. The half-hill starts were all smooth. Reaching the top was as easy as breathing. Since this round was a tie, let's settle it on the pulley group. All pickups have longitudinally mounted engines, are route into WD mode. For WD has high speed 1 and low speed for WD with torque multiplication 2 modes. All have rear differential locks. Front axles are open differentials, although the rollers are laid on an 8-degree slope. More difficult than flat ground pulley groups, but making these 3 pickups do cross-axis slip escape is a bit disrespectful to hardcore off-roaders. Let's make 3 wheels slip directly to see if they can escape with only 1 wheel. Since the rear wheels are their dominant hand, let's start with a relatively easy single rear wheel escape test. Tests show all 3 cars can escape in high speed for WD mode, but obviously their performance differ. Ranger's slipping rear wheel only spun slowly for less than 3 seconds before escaping. This shows how efficient the limited slip system is. Hilux's slipping rear wheel spun at high speed for a few seconds, then escaped, and the T90's slipping rear wheel was like being driven by a hyper squirrel, spinning wildly. The whole process was obviously slower and more struggling. This may be related to the T90's weird system calibration. In 4 high mode, the T90's dashboard shows ESC off, while the Ranger and Helix only weaken the limited slip system in 4 low mode. Because in low speed for WD, power is multiplied by torque. If fully restricted by wheel end limited slip, the unrelieved torque could blow up the transfer case. But the T9 disables it early in high speed for WD, which undoubtedly affects limited slip escape performance. And sure enough, in the hardest single front wheel escape test, the gap showed. Although the Ranger's slipping wheel also spun, its escape was still relatively easy. Hilux also successfully escaped, but the wheel spin speed was higher. The limited slip ability not good as Ranger's, but the T9 was completely stuck, couldn't get out. Even switching to the most powerful for low mode. Even with all the right moves, T9 still stayed put. Its 4WD calibration and real-world ability compared to US and JP benchmark models can only say there's still a gap. The last test for the pickup group. We'll test these work tools. Fuel economy.
Ready, go.
Considering cargo hauling is mostly intercity highway commuting, so all 3 pickups had full beds, 2 men in the car, and were tested into WD for highway fuel consumption. The test was 161 kilometers long. Whenever traffic allowed, we drove at the speed limit of 110 kilometers per hour. The final average speed reached 94 kilometers per hour. Revealing the results. First place went to the Ford Ranger, the heaviest yet the most fuel efficient. To this, the Ranger says, "Disagree? Tell that to my most powerful engine and smoothest 1080 transmission." Tested, the 2.0T Ranger consumes only 8.16 liters of diesel per 100 kilometers. Toyota Hilux took second place, although this 2.4 liters to GD FTV diesel engine has been in service for 10 years. Its 44% thermal efficiency is still competitive. Cooperation with the 680 transmission is also seamless. Tested fuel consumption 8.63 liters per 100 kilometers. JAC T9 not only came last, but also had a huge gap with competitors. 1 liter higher than Toyota, nearly 2 liters higher than the Ranger. Tested highway fuel consumption 9.7 liters per 100 kilometers. We analyzed 2 reasons for the big loss. First, in China, diesel engines are a niche market, lacking enough competition, unlike hybrid engines that have been pushed to extreme technology. Second, although the T9 uses the excellent ZF880 transmission, but whether it can work seamlessly depends heavily on tuning. Obviously, JAC hasn't tuned it well enough because the Ranger and Hilux, when cruising at 110 km per hour, can keep engine speed at 1,800 revolutions per minute, but the T90's 2.0T engine stays at a high 2,000 revolutions per minute. So high fuel consumption is not surprising. Malaysia has no diesel subsidies. We calculate based on the day's €5. Diesel price RM 6.72 per liter. The fully loaded Ranger costs RM 0.55 per kilometer, Hilux 0.58, and T9 0.65. To summarize which pickup is most recommended, I'll vote for the Ford Ranger. Besides the strongest power, handling, 4WD performance, and fuel economy, its imposing appearance also adds points. After all, when you're with ladies in a Ranger, she asked if we want to go drinking after.
Let's drink him under the table.
But in Hilux,
Let's try to finish before it rains.
did you enjoy the pickup group comparison? The last group, customized for young Malaysians. Sporty C-segment sedan rivals. .5T with VTEC, Honda Civic, beats everything even without the red badge. 1.8 TIPS horsepower, price at 144,900. Corolla owners drive so slow in China, but this GR Sport, you can see, like an old man regaining his prime. Looking pretty edgy. Although it's 1.8-liter and an engine, only delivers 139 PS, weaker than the Civic, but its price is 149,800. Can't help it, it's an imported car. So by comparison, don't you think the Civic is a great deal? Sorry, Proton S70 will give you a little shock from local cars. This top spec model is even under 90,000 after discount. B-segment car price gives you C-segment car performance specs. There's a famous saying in China,
Real men drive.
Proton S70, just don't know how it will perform on the track later. At the last, young people should be willing to try new energy types. This pure electric BYD Seal, its rear drive motor provides the combined power of the Civic and Corolla. Will it dominate the track? Let's go to the Sepang circuit. Then go north for maybe 220 kilometers, the Dato Sager circuit in Perak. Let's push these 4 cars to the limit. Hey, don't laugh guys, don't underestimate this track. It's 1.26 kilometer long, with 11 winding corners. The longest straight is 460 meters. DRS, overtake, nitro boost and all the moves can all be used here. Calling it the South Asian Little Tianma. The queen who will push these 4 cars to their limits is Miss Leona Chin, who has skill, honor and beauty. 2025 Sepang 12 Hours Endurance Race, GTC Class Champion, one of the fastest women in Southeast Asia. After introducing the background, let's officially enter the monitor view. Let's focus on this trashy, gas versus electric battle. Crossing the finish line with top speed. Hard braking into turn 1, slow corner with gradually tightening curvature. Tests the driver's braking precision. Then turns 2 to 5 are consecutive S-curves, which test the car's suspension support, tire grip, and power response speed. All pose significant challenges. The lightning-fast Seal has a clear advantage in entry speed, although its weight is 1.5 times the average of the 3 gas cars. But the large battery pack mounted low gives the Seal an inherently low center of gravity. Its agility in slow corners is no worse than the gas cars, but the burden of its weight is quietly affecting the brakes and tires. Corolla's 1.8-liter to ZRFE NA engine technology dates back to the early 2000s. Very linear but also very weak. For an experienced driver like Miss Chin, it's clearly not exciting enough. S70E's 1.5T engine has the strongest torque among the gas cars, powerful output, but slow turbo response. Not very sharp in consecutive throttle inputs.
Inside line. To outside. Inside.
Civic is indeed a well-rounded car. No weight burden like the Seal, more responsive than the S70, and more powerful than the Corolla. Shows its advantages in the complex corners. Between turns 5 and 6 is a short straight. Seal is in its element, extending its lead. Civic and S70, both 1.5T cars, entered turn 6 one after another, leaving the Corolla trailing behind, struggling, basically complaining, doing a lot of frustrating things. Turns 6 to 8 are another set of S-curves. Seal says the weight problem that didn't kill me is still hitting me. You can see the suspension still has headroom, but the GT Control P10 tires are starting to show fatigue and understeer. Miss Chin had no choice but to choose a softer and more conservative racing line, while the 3 gas cars, being light and not too powerful, can drive aggressively and use the full line. After turn 8, Seal finally got that 460 meters long straight. The sun is out, the rain has stopped, the electric bro is back.
So fast.
The rear drive motor is at full power, pushing the Seal's top speed at the end of the straight to 150.42 kilometers per hour, leaving the gas cars in the dust. Because it's a zero-emission car, Civic's power specs aren't explosive, but its turbo spool's extremely fast. S70 has the strongest engine among gas cars, but its turbo has lag, so the 2 cars' positions remain the same, arriving at turn 9 one after another. Top speeds 139 km per hour and 138 km per hour. Corolla kept its own pace. Long straight top speed 126 km per hour, just over the speed limit. Turns 9 to 11 are the track's final complex. Seal's tires and brakes have been worn to the limit by its heavy weight.
Need to brake earlier to avoid not braking in time.
Finally, the Seal, driving conservatively, got a lap time of 1:02.65, taking P1. Straight line speed is the real speed. Everyone has to brake for corners. Civic, with good tire grip and smoother power response, took second place. Lap time 1:03.05. S70, with the strongest engine, was held back by the grip of GT Comfort Series tires, and turbo response speed came third. Lap time 1:04.33. At 60% of the Honda's price, its lap time is only 1 second slower. That's amazing value for money. Finally, Corolla crossed the finish line with a lap time of 1:05.82. This proves that GR Sport is just a product trademark and has nothing to do with wishful thinking and kazoo racing. Of course, if this wasn't a one-lap race, but an endurance race, Seal's brakes and tires might not be able to hold the championship. It's hard to say. They say drivers don't need women, but when track day, after a thrilling adrenaline rush, you always expect some comfort. Young drivers start to get distracted, daydreaming, taking out their phone, texting their crush. Little do they know, in a few seconds you're distracted. There's also a crash waiting for you and your car. At this time, a reliable AEB system will save to families. Alright, Mr. Dai Zui, as a leading figure in Malaysia's car reviewers and pillar of the community, we say professional commentators should dare to make judgments. So what do you think about the AEB performance of these 4 cars? Who will be the strongest?
Looking at it, BYD should win. I think in the Chinese market, it's very competitive. So for BYD to stand out, it must have its advantages.
Okay, Mr. Dai has made his bet. He said the BYD Seal will be the best among these 4 cars. If BYD fails to do it, Mr. Dai will delete all his social media accounts on the spot.
Man, for real.
His status as Malaysia's top car reviewer will be taken over by me.
What do you think?
As someone who has tested AEB on many cars in China, an experienced host, my bold judgment is the Honda Civic will perform the best. Looking forward to their performance. So who will inherit whose account? Let's start the test now. First scenario, a broken down car on the side of the road, taking up half the lane. To see how AEB performs against an obstacle with only 50% overlap with the front of the car. First up is my pick, the Honda Civic. Don't let me down. Steady. Okay, next the Civic will challenge 60 kilometers per hour. If in a real situation, we'd have been hit by airbags already. The only consolation is that S70 and Corolla got the same result as my bet, the Civic. All can stop at 50 kilometers per hour. That saved some face. Still steady. Now the pressure is on Mr. Dai's BYD.
Whoa.
That brake felt so smooth.
70 kilometers per hour. Ready to go?
Stepping up the intensity.
70 kilometers an hour.
This surprise from BYD. My account is in danger. Up to 80 kilometers per hour. Second scenario. Those who follow closely pay attention. When the car in front swerves suddenly and an obstacle appears out of nowhere, how will your car's AEB perform? Not only the Civic and Seal got no valid results in this round. S70 and Corolla also failed. This shows that for these home sedans with basic sensing hardware, the ability to quickly identify targets and trigger decisions is relatively weak, so keep a safe following distance and focus on driving. The last scenario is the ultimate difficulty. Intersection child dart out test. Since the small dummy is only 1.2 meter tall, small reflection area, high detection difficulty, plus the target is moving fast, it's basically all debuffs stacked. 40 kilometers per hour now, ready to go. Nice. Terrific. Honda Civic stepped up. The challenge speed has reached a terrifying 70 kilometers per hour. Okay, getting into the BYD Seal. Our deciding moment. Is this round at 60 kilometers per hour? Let's start directly at 60 kilometers per hour. It did detect some eating. It has detected pretty soon. And also did braking, but that's just a token response. Then handing control back to you. BYD needs to refine this logic. Here we go. Exactly the same pattern. Tap the brake and release it right away. Mr. Dai is already embarrassed. 40 kilometers per hour now, ready to go. Same result. 3 tries, same results. Mr. Dai is desperate from losing. Even tried to make excuses for Seal's weird calibration.
Sometimes have to consider the car behind. I noticed these sudden stops because there are cars behind you.
But in this situation, saving the child should be the priority, right? Why is it thinking about the car behind? A rear-end collision is nothing. S70 and Corolla's test results, again tied with the Civic. Both can stop at 60 kilometers per hour, saving the child's life. To summarize, the 3 gas cars surprisingly tied 3 times in a row. And the BYD Seal has very strong points. That brake was good, but also very obvious weaknesses. So about that bet, I unilaterally declare I will inherit Mr. Dai's Malaysian accounts. Finally, a qualified refined car for youngsters. Must have good cabin sealing. Fresh air inside won't make you lose face. Especially after buying durian. As we all know, in Malaysia, eating durian is not allowed in indoor public places. So cars, as the smallest enclosed public space, can they hide the durian smell? Among the 4 cars behind us, perhaps every car, or perhaps any of them, will have durian inside. Next, you have to use your own sense of smell to judge and give the final answer. If you get all 4 cars right, your reward is unlimited durian. Don't you eat it?
Don't like it.
So there are Malaysian women who don't eat durian, but if you get anyone wrong, you have to jump rope 5 times on this acupressure mat. Let's get in the cars and test now. Okay, Toyota Corolla. So Joey, Queenie, do you smell durian in this car?
A little.
A little bit, huh? I also feel the smell in this car is a bit weird. But now, besides thinking it's durian, I also feel like I'm back in a Beijing DD car, so I'm not sure where the smell is, coming from durian or not. Could it be your feet?
No. No way.
I want to check the card. The card is fine. So what's your conclusion? Is there durian in this car?
I think there is.
Queenie?
Yes.
So for the Corolla, their answers are the same. Next car. Second car, we're in the Honda Civic. So Joey, do you smell durian in here?
No. No.
Also no. So what do you think the smell in the car is? If it's not durian, that what is it? Okay. Third car, BYD Seal from China. Do you smell durian in here?
100% no.
101% no.
Okay, last car is our Proton S70.
No, no. Yes.
Okay, we have discrepancy. Let's reveal the answers one by one now. Let's go. Quickly summarize the two ladies' answers. About the Toyota Corolla, you both firmly said there's durian inside. About the Honda Civic, both said no durian. About the BYD Seal, they said 100% no durian. And the last car, you have different answers. Let's reveal them one by one, and the punishment will be given immediately if you get it wrong, okay? Let's uncover the first car. Exactly. Okay, perfect. Okay. You both said there was none. None. I'm opening.
What the? Please! No! Please jump now! 5个啊，5个。What the? Wow!
3, 2, 1, come on. Next, let's reveal this one where you two have discrepancy. Alright, how about opening your own fate yourselves? Right here. 1, 2, 3, go.
No!
Come on, Joey. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's reveal the last car. Alright, take it easy. You have to know this is an EV.
That front one is cheating.
You have to know. Electric vehicles have a front trunk. So what about this front trunk? Honor your bet. To sum up, two young ladies misjudged the Civic and S70. Not because their cabin sealing performance was so great, but the mixed smell of plastic, leather, and car perfume complicated the air inside the cars and made them suspicious. While the durian odor was actually obvious, only the exclusive front trunk of the Seal can completely isolate all pungent odors. Embodies another core advantage of electric vehicles besides performance and intelligence. All our tests have come to an end now, as the video length is limited, but our sincerity of rooting in Malaysia and serving Malaysian users is boundless. If you want to watch more exciting content, remember to follow Bitato and show some love. This is Chu. I will see you soon.